Mr. Lujan. Whoops, Mr. Lujan has slipped away to vote, perhaps. Ms. Biggert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank all of you for being here. I'd like to just follow up on what Mr. Smith was talking about and find out what the other members of the panel think about that. And before that, I just wanted to ask one question. I think in your materials, Dr. Vink, you had a case, Burlex Laboratory versus the FDA. Was that part of your testimony, or? I was concerned about the standards and the conclusion of the case where the FDA allowed a new drug to go on the market, which was never really tested, but it was a test of another similar drug that allowed that. So I'd like to know, as far as the intellectual property from the other members, but also, is that the way our regulations work, that a drug really doesn't have to go through? And what it says was FDA did not act unlawfully when it determined that Avonex is clinically superior to Bederson, and to approve Avonex for use by patients with MS without requiring clinical trials of Avonex, and 3, issued its comparative guidance document without notice and comment rulemaking. Dr. Schluss, could you comment on that?
To comment on the Avonex experience, or
well, on that, and also the intellectual property question, I think that that Dr. Vink raises for allowing other companies to have to test somebody else's drug even before it's on the market.
So I think, as far as the intellectual property issue goes, it's all down to the timing. Is that this is actually not a unique experience for the biotechnology industry. The pharmacopoeias have been supplying reference standards and monographs for products for many years. And Amgen itself is collaborating with both the European Pharmacopoeia and the US Pharmacopoeia to provide just that, reference material and the description of the tests we use for our products.
Okay.
So I think this is nothing unusual. As I say, it's just a matter of timing. What we don't want to do is to lose the intellectual property that allows for innovation. I mean, the innovative industry is the industry that is producing new and novel drugs to benefit our patients.
Do you think that we are losing the innovation creativity? I know, again, Dr. Vink's testimony talked about the fact that we are behind the European countries and so many other countries in our development of drugs.
I'm not sure that that perspective is entirely correct, in the sense that in Europe the regulations for the pathway for biosimilars is somewhat more advanced than it is in the US. I think the standards that have been created in Europe are those necessary to maintain the safety and efficacy for patients, and do include the requirement for clinical studies for biosimilar products. So I think it's a matter of that the US now has to develop similar regulations that focus on patient safety, product efficacy, whilst retaining those incentives that are not going to damage the innovative work that the innovator industry does, or we will lose the chance to create new and novel medicines for our patients.
Dr. Kozlowski, could you comment on that?
So I think there is no technological advantage that Europe has in considering these products. So again, I think that there are technological issues for everybody in terms of better methods to facilitate, how much clinical information is necessary, but I don't think there's actually a scientific advantage. I think it's a question of what pathways are available for what types of products.
And Dr. Vink, maybe comment, since you're the one that raised the issue.
Commenting on the last part where I did not yet comment on what is the difference between the different areas of the world, which was actually the last part. I think, as Dr. Kozlowski and also Dr. Meyer-Sloes said, the difference is that there is a pathway. We believe that the pathway that is actually in vigor in Europe, is working well. It leaves scientific discretion with the regulatory authority. Not every molecule is the same. And every time, and that is also why we support so much NIST, the better we characterize the drug, the more we can shift the balance from actual characterization of the drug to that part of establishing the sameness and reducing the burden of unnecessary clinical confirmatory trials. The better you know what you're talking about, the less that is needed. But one thing is clear, safety of patients is at the foremost important thing for everybody in the industry.
Okay. Thank you. I'll yield back.